All right, there you are. Welcome to another episode of Frags and Beer Radio News. You guys are joining us on the live show. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with my co-host Russell Michaels. Welcome, Russell.
Hello.
And if you're watching the live show, again, thank you much for joining us. Join the chat, ask us questions, talk to us, tell us how we're doing. If you're watching the recorded show after the fact, thank you for coming to the network. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're still looking for 41 more of you awesome people to subscribe so we can get that custom YouTube link. Tonight we are going to break down Doctor Strange. There will be spoilers. We'll let you know when we get there. So first of all, we're going to jump into a few of the cool geek gaming news stories that have come up this week. Not a huge bit, but there are a couple of big stories that caught my eye. So the first one actually is pretty awesome for me. I don't know, Russell, did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing games like that?
No, I never really got into it. It's one of the few nerd things I never really got into as a child.
Gotcha. Well, if you didn't know, every year the Toy Hall of Fame inducts several toys into it. Some of them I'm surprised by, like I think last year the ball was
It took 'em
inducted.
that long to induct the ball.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like the ball. Kids have been playing with the ball for I don't know since there've been kids playing. This year the swing got inducted.
Really?
But
It
yeah.
took them that long.
Yeah, I know. But the big story for me was Dungeons and Dragons was inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame. And that might seem like a weird thing because it's not like your traditional toy. It's not like an action figure or something you build or anything like that. But a lot of kids did grow up, a lot of adults play it, but a lot of kids grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons. And it still, it invokes imagination. It inspires children to tell stories. It does teach some learning skills like math and reading comprehension and things like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Finally, like I said, things like the swing, it took them this long, and the ball last year, things like that. But, Dungeons and Dragons has been around since, 73, 74, something like that.
I hope the action figures in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they let's see. This year that didn't make the cut. Care Bears, Transformers, Uno, but Little People did make the cut. If y'all remember the Fisher Price Little People.
Yeah, the little egg-shaped things.
Yeah, and with the little barn and the characters, the little tractor and everything. Some other things that made this year's honors included bubble wrap. The
That's
Nerf
a toy
ball.
now.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, what emerged? Dungeons and Dragons, the swing, Little People, a couple other little things. So I thought that was pretty cool news. It's good for us role players. Good news seeing that in there. So on to news that's not so great. I'm not really sure yet. Like I said, I was talking to Russell before this show. This might have been a mistake or it might have been intentional. I'm not sure. But if you bought Call of Duty, I'm guessing the new Call of Duty Infinity or the remastered Call of Duty 4 from the Windows 10 store, it appears that you're stuck playing only with people who also bought from the Windows 10 store. Which seems a little weird. Like I said, it sounds like somebody didn't expect how some sort of code was going to work. That just seems like a dumbass decision to have done that intentionally. It doesn't make any sense. But thankfully, they are doing refunds for a lot of people. So if you did buy off the Windows 10 store and you're never able to find a game, which a lot of people are saying they just sit in the lobby forever and games don't launch, it looks like you're able to get a refund from the Windows 10 store so that you can then go buy it from Steam or one of the other suppliers that lets you play with other people. I said that just seems like the dumbest thing that somebody could have intentionally done.
Yeah, it's probably just a glitch. They'll fix it.
That's what I'm thinking.
But if we're being honest, what isn't Xbone like is very underperforming in selling? It's close to the Wii U in sales. It's not as bad as the Wii U.
I'd have to check.
The PS4 is such heads and shoulders above it, right?
I think so. I think the PS4 is killing it as far as current generation consoles go. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I'm fairly certain that PS4 sits on the top of the heap right now.
It does. I know the X-Bone's below it. I don't know how far it is. I know it's not as bad as the Wii U, but
Right.
I guarantee you the Switch is going to sell a crap ton of units.
Yeah, as long as they have a good release library, I think they will probably do pretty well.
And apparently the newest rumor is that Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda game, will somehow not launch with it, which I think is only a rumor right now because, my God, would that be a problem if it didn't launch with it?
Yeah, that doesn't seem...
I know they make it good. I know they always want to make the Zelda games good, and I'll take a delay if it means making the game better, because it's my favorite video game franchise.
Right.
But not launching with the Switch is a bad idea.
The only thing, and now that you mention that, the only thing I can think of that might be affecting that is are the voice actors still on strike? Because if they didn't start Breath of the Wild within that certain time frame...
If there's one video game that could survive without voice acting, it's the fucking Legend of Zelda series.
True, but as far as I know...
If they have to delay the voice packs for a bit, I think we'll be okay.
That may be what's affecting their decision, though. If they aren't sure that they're actually going to have voice actors to do the parts, that may be what they're worried about. I'm surprised that's still going on. Yeah, it hasn't ended yet. I haven't heard that it ended. As a matter of fact, we could probably look if the voice actor strike is still going.
It's good for retro games. That's what it's good for. Retro games don't usually have voice acting.
Telltale's Marvel games Guardian of the Galaxy, according to voice actor strike leak.
Telltale Marvel game, cool.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Is it going to take place in the MCU?
Let's see. This was just released 2 days ago on PC Games N. Part of the ongoing strike. It's still ongoing, according to 2 days ago. They released a list of games. Now, this is actually not very cool, because if this is the first time we're hearing about Telltale games released from Marvel, and they didn't allow the developer to release this information, but SAG-AFTRA has released a large list of games that are affected by the strike. Telltale Games Marvel is one of them. Well, it was announced.
That is a narrative-driven game.
It has already been announced. However, Guardians of the Galaxy...
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale games. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a list of games. If you look on PC Games, let's see, PCGamesIn.com, there is upcoming PC games... look forward to in 2017. Yeah, apparently SAG-AFTRA's released a list of games that might be affected by the writer strike. So it's possible.
The strike will end when the voice actors get hungry.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. So yeah, it's going
to be like the writer's strike.
Which
ended badly for the writers.
It did,
and almost nothing for it.
It also screwed us out of some good shows and delayed some shows.
Yeah, well,
and
it didn't screw up that many shows. It just cut their seasons in length, which means they cut out a lot of filler. I mean, when you think about it,
it could be.
I remember whenever I watch a show on Netflix and I get to the season that was affected by the writers' strike, I was like, that's why this season was so few episodes.
Right, yeah, we had that. I mean, we had Heroes go down the hill because right after season 2 of Heroes was the strike.
I wouldn't blame the writer's strike for that show.
Well, I think the writer's strike affected the writers that came back, and the writers that came back weren't as good as the writers that left.
Heroes had a lot of problems.
Yeah, it did.
People said the first season was the best, which means the second season was already starting to win.
Oh, yeah. It had its issues, but yeah, season 3 was just like, what the shit are you doing? And yeah, Battlestar Galactica, I was watching that during the time, and that there was a gap of well over a year and a half between seasons because of that, which sucked for us because it was a great show, and it did come back good, and it finished off good, but, having to wait, I mean, everybody chomps at the bit having to wait 6 to 8 months for a show to come back, but think of twice that long for a show you're in love with to come back. Like,
and that's why a show like South Park is so successful, because its creators write most of the episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on with more video game news. Some of you guys might be interested to hear this, excited to hear this, or maybe not. Some people aren't into the esports stuff, but Overwatch is officially getting its own sports league. This was actually in USA Today. Blizzard is going to launch a pro sports league for Overwatch, which, like you said, Russell, nobody's probably surprised.
No.
This was bound to happen, but it's good out there. The more that we get this stuff out there, like ESPN playing, video game tournaments, I think is actually a really good thing for us gamers. The more this stuff becomes regular fare for the general public, the harder it's going to be for, we deal with people that shit on gamers all the time, whether it be in the media or this developer doesn't like these gamers or whatever. The more this stuff becomes, common, general, just people seeing it all the time, the harder it's going to be for these people to go, look, all these gamers are jerks, or whatever they like to say about gamers. People are going, no, I saw a bunch of these kids playing on ESPN and they looked all like they were having a good time and it was all cool. So the more this stuff
really
gets out there.
South Korea.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
South Korea has StarCraft as it's essentially its national sport.
Yeah, those guys over there are freaking dedicated as shit, man.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. The more we get this out on TV, I think it's a good thing. I think we pull gaming out of the basement, quote unquote. I think it's a good thing to get this out there in the broad daylight general public and get people watching. So that's good news. Bad news, unfortunately, some of you guys know this, some of you guys don't know this yet. The Nintendo Classic released, and
NES Classic.
Yes, the NES Classic, and it looks like a combination of small release as well as scalpers. Pretty much, it's sold out in minutes. You can get them now. I've heard anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000.
Yeah, eBay is going crazy.
It's ridiculous. People don't pay that kind of money. Nintendo's going to release more. I don't know why Nintendo didn't release a lot up front.
They should have taken pre-orders. I don't know why. What compelled them to not take pre-orders?
Shit, yeah. Find out how many people want this thing and get it out there. I don't know what happened. Obviously, nobody knows right now what happened. Maybe Nintendo will release a press release and I don't know. Who knows? Maybe a factory burned down or something and millions of units were destroyed. I don't know.
A story would have been out. A fire kind of makes
you would think. But, I'm just, like I said, we don't know yet why they did it. We don't know why they chose to do it. Of course, Polygon is going the route of saying that Nintendo's either incompetent or underhanded. Two things which there are far more options.
Scalpers don't benefit them.
Right.
To make no money off the scalping.
Yeah, and
so they're not underhanded.
Incompetent or underhanded, either one of those obviously are possible, but there are more options out there.
Nintendo is very risk averse.
Yeah.
And this is why they couldn't just make the step of taking pre-orders so they could anticipate demand in a rational fashion.
They really should have anticipated
this. They did that with Amiibos too.
Yeah, I think that's actually mentioned. I'm actually reading the Forbes.com article on this, and they talk about consistent pattern from Nintendo from Amiibos to the Wii. It eventually begins to feel more like a strategy than a miscalculation. I don't remember this kind of thing being. I don't remember it being that bad with any other Nintendo product where they sold out in minutes. But I guess specific Amiibos maybe, and people selling them online.
Wii
but those
Fit Trainer sold out like crazy.
Did it?
Yeah.
So who knows? But don't buy the ones from the scalpers. Don't give those guys the satisfaction. Let them sit on their $60 console for the rest of their freaking lives and wait for Nintendo to release more.
Here's the thing: the NES Classic, every single game you can get for it, you can get on the 3DS eShop. So I don't understand why.
But how much? Like, for instance, if you wanted this had 30 games. So let's say if you wanted the first Final Fantasy on the 3DS eShop, how much is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the important thing here is the one thing they need to fix when they make more of these is make the controller length a lot longer, because it's only like 3 or 4 feet.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
Is not enough for most people.
No, they need the cord length, and I'm hoping they release maybe the next one, release it with 2 controllers. My wife and I want to get one, but it only has one controller.
I mean, it's preloaded with 30 games. Really, I didn't think it had that many.
Yeah,
that makes it easily worth the $60.
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking about it. I mean, I've got the what is it, the Quattro? No, not the Quattro. I've got the one that plays Nintendo 8-bit, 16-bit, Super NES, and the Sega Genesis games. And I was looking at buying just Final Fantasy and the first Zelda, and right there you're talking $30 just for those two 8-bit cartridges. So yeah, that thing's easily worth the money. I'm surprised it's that cheap for the number of games that are loaded on it.
Nintendo's usually good with its people.
Yeah.
It tends to have lower priced consoles.
The pricing is pretty good. I'm liking it. So, yeah, then we just found this story. I actually found this story right before we started, and it struck me. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised partially, but from One Angry Gamer, this article came out actually today. Actually, it came out about an hour and a half before we did our sound check. So it's pretty opportune that we saw this. So this guy's playing Watchdogs 2, and there's an explosion. Let's see here. He blew up a gas line, and the explosion killed a hooker in an alley. And the hooker happened to be wearing crotchless panties and landed in front of the guys playing the game. So he took out his camera, his in-game camera, and took a picture of her exposed vagina and posted the photo on Twitter. So, they put that in, like, I mean, I guess realism is a thing, but really, unless this is an adult-oriented game in which, you know, adult themes are part of the gameplay, I'm not sure why you would go to the extent of actually doing the texture on an NPC's vagina. But he posted a picture, and then Ubisoft actually banned him. Let me see here. News spread on social media. Ubisoft, where did it go? I can't remember. They banned him for... Good Lord. I can't find it in the article now. But they banned this gamer from his Ubisoft account for posting a picture of something they put in the game on Twitter.
Yeah, that's just stupid. That's just stupid.
Hey, why is it in there in the first place in this game? As far as I know, Watch Dogs 2 is not an adult-themed game. It's a mature game. It's a mature rate. Yeah, it's a mature rated game, but it's not like a pornographic adult-themed game. So why was it in there in the first place? Here it is. Yeah, the answer is mature game, having mature content that someone posted up on social media and got banned for it. And their response from Ubisoft: we're aware that one of the NPC models in Watch Dogs 2 is rendered in a way that is particularly explicit. While Watch Dogs 2 is a mature rated game, we apologize and will update this NPC model to make it more consistent with the other NPC models in the game in a patch to be released. So not only did they ban him for posting it, they are removing it, which, fine, leave it or remove it. I don't really care. I just don't get why it's in there in the first place. Yeah, he was banned for a month. Like,
well, they didn't permanently ban him at least, but that's just stupid.
That's just dumb. And unfortunately, and I liked this policy when I was playing Rainbow Six Siege. When cheaters get caught in a Ubisoft game, when you play on your Uplay account, they don't just ban you from the one game that you're playing. Like when people were hacking Rainbow Six Siege and you got caught and you got banned from all of your Ubisoft games. Which seems a little extreme, but then again, I really hate hackers. So yeah, that means this guy got banned for a month from his Uplay account, not just from this game, as far as I understand their policy. Which means he didn't get to play anything.
He was doing a public service.
Right, yeah.
By telling people.
So, I don't know. It seems all around just absolutely stupid, and the poor gamer gets banned for a month.
This is why I play the Saints Row franchise.
Jesus.
None of this bullshit.
No, just absolutely stupid. I'm surprised. I shouldn't be, but I am. So that's it, folks, for our gaming news and our geek news and everything that's happened for the week. So if you are watching the live or watching the recording, we are about to jump into Doctor Strange. Spoilers ahead. So this is your warning. If you have not seen it and you don't want it spoiled, come back and watch the episode later.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Well,
Like, go see this movie already.
yeah, some people have seen it. Some people don't care about spoilers. If you don't care about spoilers, stick around and listen to what we thought of the movie. And we'll give you our take and what we thought, what we didn't like, what we loved, and what we're hoping for in the future. First off, I'm going to say if you haven't seen it yet or you only saw it in 2D, go see that thing in 3D. There are not a whole lot of I've seen a lot of 3D movies and they were really cool, but I don't know if I've seen any 3D movies yet where I'm like, you have to see this in 3D.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd quite get the depth of some of the stuff that's going on if you didn't watch that movie in 3D. It was just the change in environments, the whole Inception kind of magic warping reality stuff going on. That stuff just really needed that 3D element. I mean, that just completed the whole look of it. So yeah, definitely see it in 3D. I loved it. I thought the acting was spot. I knew Cumberbatch was going to nail it. I mean, short of a stupid script and a bad director, I'm not sure Cumberbatch could really do a bad job acting. Dude's really good. He's going to be good for a long time. Yeah. He's going to go down. I think he's going to go down as one of the greats. 50 years from now, he's going to be up there with the few people that are always remembered, into their old age.
He needs to do another Oscar-worthy movie because he'll get an Oscar eventually. He just needs to do another movie.
Oh yeah,
that fits that mold.
I mean,
he's really good in The Imitation Game when he got nominated.
Yes,
for, but he didn't win that year.
He was very good. He's been good in everything I've seen him in. He's been fantastic.
Yeah. Easily the best part of Into Darkness.
Yeah. His supporting cast were fantastic. All of the people, all of the actors involved. I don't think I saw a single character that didn't come off as genuine, unique, three-dimensional. Like, I mean, everybody.
Baron Mordo was very good.
Oh yeah.
The guy whose name I cannot pronounce to save my life.
I know, and he's in so much. Like, you've seen him in so many things, and yeah, he's fantastic. Like you mentioned, the guy who plays Wong, whose name happens to be Wong, Benedict Wong. Yes, very good. He was from
Kublai Khan in the Marco Polo Netflix.
Yes,
series,
which is also
who don't know.
Which is a good show. It's not a great show, but it is a good show, and it's a pretty show.
I like the drama.
The
action is usually really good.
The action's
good. The guy
good.
playing 100 Eyes.
Yes.
Whenever he does an action scene, it's fucking awesome.
And the sets. That show has got some of the most beautiful costumes and sets of any show I've ever seen. It's fantastic. But and my wife brought up a wonderful, and I had to tell this joke because it cracked me up right in the middle of the theater. We're sitting there watching Benedict Cumberbatch and Benedict Wong. The first time they start talking to each other, and she leans over to me and she goes, "Hey, that's Khan meeting Khan." Which
I didn't realize that. I didn't get
just cracked me up. Yeah,
I didn't catch that when it happened. That's hilarious.
Very good stuff. But yeah, I loved it. The only problem I had with it was too short.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen's character was slightly underdeveloped.
He was.
He also got a long time to rant while he was stuck in that trap thingy.
True. Yeah, which was cool.
Also, here's a good question.
Yeah.
Why, when he got freed from the trap thingy, didn't he destroy the New York barrier?
Yeah, that is a good question.
He just kind of left for no good reason.
That is a good question. Why didn't he destroy it? There were a couple of little things where I was kind of like, why are they doing it that way, or why aren't they doing this that way? But
the time reversal shit was awesome.
Yes. Oh yeah, they did that very well.
And he took somebody out of the time loop. It was like
yes.
It was awesome.
That was so well translated.
I've come to bargain.
Yep. And that was one of the things I was worried about, actually, was, and I think they did a good job with the timing of this movie in the MCU, because, when they first announced Thor, I'm like, how the hell are they going to sell a god to the general public? I was worried about Thor, and they did Thor right. By
making him not understand American customs.
Right. Well, and by showing him in his world, and by explaining that they're only gods to humans who don't understand their power. They're in reality aliens. So instead of trying to sell the god Thor, they're selling aliens who people look up to as gods, which made sense. But then, and then I was worried about Ant-Man. How are they going to, like, Ant-Man is one of the most, yeah,
that's the funniest Marvel movie to date.
Right, but one of the most ridiculous characters. Like, how are they going to sell this? Well, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. How are they going to sell this space adventure?
That was easy because they're hilarious.
They nailed it. But this one, I'm like, magic. How are you going to do it? Like, okay, people can get spaceships and aliens because we've been seeing that forever. Hulk, probably out of the Avengers, the weirdest character is the Hulk, but we've been seeing him on the screen since the 70s.
Since the second movie in the MCU.
Yeah. But magic, like, how are they going to sell this? And man, they couldn't have nailed it better. Like, it looked so good. Just killed it, I thought. Anyway, what was your favorite part?
There's so many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets thrown into magic the first time, like he gets like kicked around and like all the crazy trippy shit that goes on.
Yeah.
The final fight, the fights with Mads Mikkelsen against the Ancient One, those were really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
When they're running through New York and it's all collapsing in on each other and it's Inception on crack. That was really awesome.
That was good.
The training scenes were pretty cool when he's getting things explained to him.
Right.
I mean, there's so many good things. It's hard to nail it down. The movie
Very much
really
so.
Good.
This
is the 14th MCU movie. The 14th one.
Yeah, and
they still know how to do it.
They've really done it. I liked one thing that I liked at the end, because every superhero movie we've had has been, we're going to take a big good guy and a big bad guy and we're going to make them fight. We're going to show how powerful they are by destroying a bunch of shit. And by the end of the movie, they're going to crawl out of the rubble with the good guy winning and the bad guy defeated, and we're going to move on with our lives. And the end of this movie, it felt weird at first, but then once it struck me what they were doing, I'm like, this is perfect, because there's not going to be a physical confrontation between Doctor Strange and Dormammu. It's going to be an intellectual confrontation. Doctor Strange is he's not a big superhero that goes around kicking the shit out of everything and blowing things up. And I like that they got away from that. Like, they could have very easily made his magic very destructive and blowing up buildings, but instead they made the bad guys like that, and they made him very much very intellectual, very thinking things through and trying to solve the problem of what's going on, not just punch his way through everything, which is good because that's the character they were dealing with. But they could have easily screwed that up by doing the same thing they've done with all the other ones, is just have it become a big fight scene at the end, which I think that would have been something that would have completely ruined the rest of the movie could have been exactly the same if they had put a fight scene at the end. I think that would have absolutely destroyed the movie, probably.
It would have been cool if we got some long-range magic fighting instead of all close-up, but they can save that for the sequel.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot of sorcerer fights in the next movie, considering how that ending, the end credit scene happened.
Oh, I think so.
That guy's going to be fighting a lot of sorcerers, and it's going to get awesome.
Yeah.
We expect. Okay, there's this Easter egg that I didn't catch when I saw it, but somebody pointed out to me. The guy who controlled the Greenwich Village Center is the brother of Brother Voodoo, which is a very well-known big sorcerer in the comic books.
Yeah.
And Brother Voodoo is aided by his brother as a ghost. So,
okay.
Yeah. So they decided to find a way to slightly introduce Brother Voodoo. Brother Voodoo is a really fucking awesome character.
Yeah, that could be a good way to go. And
Brother Voodoo is probably going to be in the next movie.
And I like how they set it up where there could be a sequel, but they completed his story. They set it up how there could be a sequel, but they also set it up where, it's almost certain that we're going to see Doctor Strange in other characters'
movies. He's going to be in Infinity War. We know that. And he's going to be in the next Thor movie. So
yeah.
we know those things.
But because we all know Doctor Strange is not, and if some people may not know this, some people may, if you read Marvel Comics, Doctor Strange generally has his own book, but really the most you see Doctor Strange of is when other characters in their books go to him because they have a problem that needs the Sorcerer Supreme to solve.
Another Marvel movie news, Michael Keaton
yeah.
has officially been cast as Vulture. They've announced that.
I saw that, I suspected that's where they were going. It's kind of interesting that he went from Birdman to playing Vulture.
After Birdman.
Which I thought was a stupid movie. I really hated that movie.
I thought it was a very art house movie.
Oh, yeah.
In that movie, you know it's an art house film.
And it just didn't seem to have a point. I don't know. I just did not like that movie.
Yeah, it had its problems. I will admit there were some obvious problems with that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, so I wonder if, and you were talking about long range battles. Obviously, we're gonna see Doctor Strange in other characters' movies, which I think is great because it pulls right out of the comic book and how he operates in the Marvel universe on the comic side, where people go to him with problems that need magic. You know, Spider-Man comes across a relic that he doesn't understand because it's not science, it's magic. He goes to Doctor Strange. Yeah. That's how most of us see Doctor Strange in the comic books. Unless you read the one Doctor Strange comic, you know, you're seeing him in other people's books. So that's kind of cool. I'm hoping to see them do that. It will really bring the Marvel universe to life on the screen.
We're getting an Inhumans television show. It's been greenlit for ABC.
I saw that too, which is interesting and troubling.
It means the actor playing Black Bolt will not be as famous.
Right, but it also means that it's probably going to wind up being either a spin-off or a continuation of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which is not good because that show's not fun.
Right.
You know? Apparently, people tell me the third season villain, when it ended up being revealed, Hive, was actually really interesting.
It was.
My God, the beginning of the third season was fucking boring.
It was pretty cool the way they went there. I'm liking the new season, but I am concerned. I mean, Inhumans are already a weird. Like, I'm not even a big fan of the Inhumans.
The big problem with it is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I've said this multiple times on this podcast before, they have an entire toy box that's locked to them.
Right.
They can't use them. They have the entire panoply of every Marvel villain there's almost no chance they'll ever put it in a movie.
Right.
Why couldn't they just make one like every other episode? I know you couldn't have one in every episode, but you'd give us... Because Marvel needs to build up a fucking asylum of bad guys, because they don't have any. They all die at the end of their movie. They got Loki and Baron Mordo. That's like the only villains left in the universe.
Yeah, it would be cool to see that. So yeah, we're hoping to see that. But long range fights. You were talking about long range fights. I wonder if they were worried that they would look too much like Harry Potter. Because the minute you said that, I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. And then the only thing I could picture in my head was a bunch of kids running around with wands, throwing glowing orbs at each other.
They stayed away from wands in this game.
Yeah,
really,
which is good.
Movie. They really stayed away from it.
Yeah, and I think it was intentional, but also, I mean, you don't see, Doctor Strange has the eye, he has the cloak, he has whatever artifacts he happens to need at the time. You don't see a lot of wands. I think they stay away from that trope pretty regularly, even in the books. So I wasn't too surprised to not see wands. But yeah, I'm wondering if they were afraid of them throwing magic at each other, it would look too much like that. But then again, maybe
Possibly.
not. Maybe they just decided to go the whole gun fu route with magic. And
well, there's the fact that Doctor Strange, they didn't show it much in this movie, but his stance when he does magic is the rock out, the index finger pinky stance. He only does it like once or twice, very briefly in the movie, but all merchandise for him, his hands are in that pose.
It absolutely is. So yeah, that'll be cool. I'm hoping to see more. I really liked it. I think they did a fantastic job.
Benedict Cumberbatch was perfectly cast.
Yes,
great. He basically plays in the first part of the movie. He's basically playing Dr. House.
Yep.
And then which is very fitting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He nailed that.
He did the American accent really well.
He did. He didn't even sound like himself. That was at first really weird because I knew I was looking at him, but then he talked and I'm like, that doesn't. His whole tenor of voice was different, not just his accent. Like it sounded like he brought his voice up an octave too, because normally he has a very low voice. combined with his accent, which I know is what drives people nuts in a good way. But yeah, he seemed to lose both the accent and the tone of voice, which made him sound completely different. But it was good because, like you said, it was a very good American accent, and I think it suited the character very well. Costuming was freaking amazing.
Oh, the cloak of levitation was awesome.
It was fantastic. It was the humor that. I mean, I know they made Doctor Strange try to be a little funny, but he's not really a funny guy. Like, he's a guy that most people don't like. So when he was trying to be funny, it was obvious that he's not funny. But then that cloak beating that guy up, wrapped around his head, just banging his head against the wall. That was cracking me. Like, I know this guy's getting his head beat against the wall, but it was so freaking funny.
Also, we got the Beyonce joke, and then the next scene, Wong is listening to all
Oh,
the
yes.
ladies.
Very good.
That was fucking hilarious. Let my ass off. It's like, oh, he's listening to all the single ladies.
Yep. So yeah, folks. I mean, it was a short movie, unfortunately. That was really my biggest critique. There were a couple times where I had questions about whether something should have been done that way or done a different way. I did not. I know a lot of people had a problem with Swinton as the Ancient One.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Because it was an Asian dude in the comic books, I remember, if I recall correctly about that. But
well,
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I really don't.
And they even said, I don't know, this was very quick, and I don't know if anybody caught it because the word is not that common. But when they describe her, like, where is she from? And
Celtic.
They said she's Celtic. So, I mean, Baron Mordo, they cast a black guy. Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, that was a white guy in the comic books.
Yeah.
They have this habit of casting people that don't mean the Mary Jane's going to be black in this Spider-Man movie. I mean, and she's probably not, and apparently not going to be his love interest, which makes sense because if they want to do the Gwen Stacy storyline correctly, she can't be his love interest yet.
Right.
So
yeah, she can't be. She can be his friend because they were friends growing up, and they did not become lovers until after Gwen
Stacy died.
So yeah, and you know, the Ancient One is not like, sure, the Ancient One was an Asian dude in the comic books, but the concept of the Ancient One did not need to be actually, here we go. This is interesting because the Ancient One takes an apprentice who trains who is a druid who becomes Dr. Druid.
It wouldn't surprise me if they introduced Tilda Swinton's, I don't know, brother or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. She did a great job.
They're going to do Brother Voodoo, though. We know Brother Voodoo's going to be in the next one. It has to be. You don't introduce the dude's brother, who is his spirit animal of sorts, and not have him in the next movie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Awesome.
It'll be interesting to see. Looking forward to seeing more. And yeah, as far as it goes, it was a short movie. There's not a ton to break down. Go see it. We loved it.
It's really cool. I mean, the fights are awesome. The visuals are really stunning.
Yeah.
They managed. This is probably the most beautiful looking Marvel movie so far for what it is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's the things that happen in the movie. I mean, they set him up to be this douche so well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like the little cheeky reference to War Machine when he's driving in his car.
Yeah.
With a broken, it's like Air Force colonel in an experimental suit of armor with a broken back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's what set the time, because a lot of people mentioned there was a point in this movie that was going to set the time before.
Apparently it takes place in 2016. So.
Well, but
we don't know how many years have passed, and we don't know how long he was training for. He could be a couple of years in the future.
Well, true. The beginning of the movie, they set the beginning of the movie up before most of the Marvel movies.
No, they didn't. It's 2016 because he's in his car before the car crash, and he mentions Army lieutenant with a broken back and an experimental suit of armor.
Didn't that happen?
That happened in Civil War.
That did. Okay, I thought that was before that. I thought that was before he got the suit.
Yeah.
Civil
War, so Yeah, it takes, and you see he has an award on his shelf before he goes out in the car that says 2016 on it. So this the start of the movie's in 2016.
So I
They
guess
said
I
that was
had
a possibility, but I guess that was a head fake.
Yeah, I had heard wrong. It was not set before then.
Well,
You're
I
right.
heard that too, and I was surprised when I saw 2016 on his awards wall. It's like, okay.
But in either
Next
case,
question?
we are definitely going to see more. We're going to see him in more movies. We're going to see hopefully more Doctor Strange movies, but we're going to see him in more other Marvel movies, which is awesome. I mean,
Mid-credit sequence was awesome.
Yes, both.
Wearing the gloves, he refills the beer with magic. I mean, that was awesome.
And I think that seems like the setup for the Dark World. For Ragnarok. Yeah.
It's just like Ant-Man. Just like Ant-Man showed a scene from Civil War in the mid-credit sequence.
Yeah.
This is a scene right out of Ragnarok.
Yeah, leading into Ragnarok. Maybe you caught this. We didn't catch this from the end of the Dark World. What did happen? Because we know we see Loki sitting on the throne at the end of the Dark World.
He cast Odin out. That's what he did.
Cast him out, but where? So they're going to look for him. So at some point, Thor must talk Loki into going to look for Odin after Loki cast him out. Like, I guess we're gonna get more setup in the upcoming movie, but my wife and I caught that as kind of an unusual.
Yeah, we already knew that was gonna happen because we saw there were set pictures from Ragnarok of Odin looking like a homeless man.
Oh, okay. Those I have not seen yet. I'll have to check that out. So
we also knew he was going to end up with Doctor Strange because another photo from the set showed him holding a card on it that had the address of Doctor Strange's Greenwich Observatory. So
that's how he goes. Yeah, he goes looking for. That's how he winds up in that scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the show. I mean, that's
such an enjoyable movie. Yep. Also in movie news, Hacksaw Ridge was really fucking good. It's the drama of the year so far, I would say.
Good. I want to see that.
Arrival was weird.
Weird? Was it good though?
Yeah, no, it's worth seeing once, I guess, but I wouldn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters. I wish I hadn't seen it in theaters. It's the first time Jeremy Jahns has given me a bad choice because he gave it an Awesome-tacular rating, which is his highest rating, and I don't think it's worth that. It was. The aliens were certainly interesting, but they didn't spend a lot of time on the first contact part of it that I thought the movie was mostly going to be about. They spent a lot of it on something else that I wasn't particularly that happy about.
Interesting. Well, yeah, we'll probably rent it.
It's worth a Redbox. I mean, Redbox is what, $1.50?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll either get it there or on Netflix. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. You wanted to mention there was some new Pokemon news that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, they've officially all the Alolan forms are now known. We now know that the Geodude family is going to have be Rock Electric, which is really cool. Alolan Dugtrio with his long flowing blonde Fabio hair is going to be Rock Steel. Because apparently in the what we know about it, he dug through the rich Alolan soil and minerals got in his hairs. Got his head, so that's why they grew hair.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make much sense, but I don't think that was the point.
Right. Yeah.
That Pokemon set the internet on fire. I mean, the internet was really went crazy for a bit with Alolan Dugtrio.
Yeah.
And we now know that like in the previous generation, while we got Mega Evolutions, we're getting something called Z moves, and all the starters will have Z moves. So Z moves are like special moves you can only use once per battle. Somewhat like Mega Evolutions. So it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
It's getting reviewed. The early reviews are all saying it's one of the best Pokemon games ever made. So hype is real. The hype is real. I can't wait to play. That's what I'm going to be doing all weekend. I'll probably go see a movie, but because a couple of good movies come out this Friday. If I recall correctly,
Fantastic. Is it Fantastic Beasts this weekend?
Fantastic Beasts and Where They Come From, and one other movie. I think
it's
not a horror movie.
I'm sure we'll be going to see Fantastic Beasts either this weekend or next weekend. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that looks good. What is it? I believe it's Fantastic Beasts, and there's one other movie that I want to see. That's not the Edge. Bleed for this. That's right. Bleed for this. Boxing based on Vinny the Tasmanian Devil Pazania. It's got Aaron Eckhart as a coach who's got like a bald cap. They know what they're doing there, and apparently Billy Lynn's halftime walk also comes, and that's probably going to be in limited release.
Oh yeah, I did see a trailer for that.
That
Also,
movie does look good.
today we now have 30 days till Rogue One, which is
Yay!
fantastic. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
The latest
Although
trailer
the
I saw.
stupid director had to tweet something stupid after the election.
You know what?
The Empire, the white supremacists. I don't know why they wasted effort on it. Really.
You know what? And I saw the tweet, and a lot of people misread the tweet. We'll talk about it for a second because his tweet was, of course, they're white supremacists (parentheses humans) being thwarted by or being opposed by a multicultural rebellion led by a woman. Now, first of all, reading comprehension time, boys and girls. When you say something like, of course they're white supremacists, and you put in parentheses humans, that's what writers and editors use in articles when somebody says something and then they're elaborating without making a whole sentence. He wasn't saying that the Empire was literally like the KKK in space. He was saying that here's a word or a phrase that humans on Earth understand.
But they're not white supremacists.
Parentheses,
They're Nazis.
Parentheses human. They are not white supremacists. They're human supremacists. That's why he put humans in.
The trope of space Hitler.
Because
one of the most common tropes in sci-fi. Just call them Nazis. It's
well,
easy.
if you want to say that, the Nazis were white supremacists.
Yeah.
Technically, they're xenophobes, and this is explained by a lot of people who took the time to actually think about the tweet rather than knee-jerk react to the tweet. They are xenophobes, but a xenophobe doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us because there are not space aliens, so we're not technically xenophobes. The word xenophobe makes a lot of sense to sci-fi people, but to the average person, if you go up and ask somebody on the street who doesn't normally watch or read science fiction and ask them what a xenophobe is, they probably don't know what that word means.
So, it's a good word, oinkophobe, somebody who's afraid of the familiar.
Oh, and I don't know what that word means.
It's a fun word.
I didn't know that word.
It's used by James Toronto a lot as a reader, as a columnist in the Wall Street Journal.
Right. But essentially, essentially, he was taking a concept that we understand. We all know what white supremacists are. They've been around for a long time. We know what the hell they are. They're people that hate people that are different than them. The word white happens to tell you what they hate. To say that they are human xenophobes who are afraid of aliens is too long for a tweet, but it's also, when you say xenophobe, again, that's not something the general public is always going to understand. So it was the quickest and easiest way for him to say that the Empire is a group of people that hates people who are not like them, which means they're humans. They don't like non-humans, which is how it has been since 1975, or 76. The Empire is space Nazis, like you said. And if you want to get literal, Nazis were white supremacists, so if it's wrong to call them white supremacists, it's wrong to call them space Nazis too, because it's the same thing.
Space Nazis is just is one of the most common tropes in science fiction.
Right. It's a metaphor. Exactly. It's a metaphor. The guy was using a
space Hitler.
Yes.
The Emperor was space Hitler. I mean, so many villains in science fiction space movies are genocidal
because it's the easiest way to say these guys are really evil, like without even having to say it. If you show people, like, they didn't even have to say it. The Empire, they showed us these guys marching in lockstep. They called them stormtroopers, and they put them in gray Nazi uniforms. They didn't even have to say that these people hate aliens. We saw them and went, oh, well, these guys are really evil. Like, you don't even need anybody to tell you these guys are evil.
What I'm interested in is the next Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I think the Clone Army is going to be based. They're going to reintroduce the Clone Army, and it's going to be based on Captain Phasma. That just seems to be what they're going for. Because if you remember from The Force Awakens, there's a point where Captain Phasma is chasing them in the Millennium Falcon, and her spaceship smashes into the side of a building. And yet the next scene, she's right behind the dude, right before they launch the space laser, and she doesn't have any injuries at all. So it wouldn't surprise me if they got some clones of her popping up around.
So where was it she was chasing the Falcon?
She was chasing them in one of those, she was chasing them in the Millennium Falcon on Jakku. They pan to the person in it, and it's a person wearing a silver stormtrooper armor, which is
I'm
clearly
gonna have to
Captain
check that
Phasma.
out. I missed that because that
I
you
noticed
made
that the first time. I'm like, yeah, Captain Phasma just smashed into the side of a building, and now she's in the next scene. She has no outward injuries.
Yeah, you might be right. I'll have to check that out. But essentially, like I said, folks, we brought that up. The director did make a tweet. Some people reacted to that tweet. It was a tweet. It was 140 characters.
It was
so
dumb. It was dumb. It's still
it
dumb.
probably was. But, excuse me. The point is, he was making a metaphor, and it was just like everybody's like, oh, they're shoving politics down our throat. You know what? A New Hope was space Nazis being thwarted by a multicultural rebellion led by a woman. So replace white supremacists with space Nazis, which are the same thing. And he was basically describing the Empire and the rebellion from A New Hope. So if you don't like that dynamic, that's how it was before. If this one is going to do the same thing, then that's probably the right move. We want space Nazis fighting a multicultural rebellion, and whether you like it or not, led by a woman, yeah, because actually
that blind guy's gonna get killed by Vader. I just know.
Probably because he seems to be the one that either the Force adept or the one that's Force sensitive. Not sure yet,
but it's gonna be an awesome fight. It's gonna be an awesome fight.
I think so too.
One thing that you can say about the original trilogy, their fight scenes weren't that amazing.
No,
they were just kind of fencing. They were just fencing. The one in The Force Awakens, the fight scenes were fucking awesome because they got the guys from the raid to choreograph it.
I like how they went because, like you said, the original trilogy, the fight scenes weren't that. I mean, they were very structured and very old school fencing style fighting. And then we get to the prequels, and they were very flashy and over the top and very, just almost too much. And then we get to The Force Awakens, and it was kind of in between. They used
the environment. That was the key to the good fights in Force Awakens. They used the environment. She jumps between two close cliffs next to each other, then flips and does like a spit, she does a flip roll. That was awesome.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, thankfully.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Rogue One. I'm looking forward to the next standalone.
Han Solo movie's gonna be awesome. The guy they got to play Han Solo is a really good actor. If you haven't seen Hail Caesar, go see it. That's the movie role that got him. He's in that movie. It's the role that got him Han Solo. He's good.
Yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to that. I'm looking forward. The guy that's playing Lando, I'm looking forward to seeing Han and Lando together. Like, that was always such a cool duo that I don't think we got enough of because, they were at odds with each other, but they were friends. But they didn't seem to get along completely. But they still I loved that whole dynamic, but we just didn't get to see enough of it. I don't think. So hopefully,
we need Lando to be in the next Star Wars movie because we need to know if he's Finn's father or not.
True, yeah, that's the big question is he
People
Finn's
think
father?
He's Finn's father.
Which
he never knew his parents. He was stolen from as a child.
Which is possible, but then again, they always bring these connections back together. But then again, we have to remember there's billions and billions of people in the Star Wars universe. So
true, but when it comes down to it, he's pretty much the only black guy.
Right? Yeah. If they make that connection, I'm almost going to be disappointed because it's almost going to be like saying Lando was the only black guy, so of course the black guy in the new movies is his kid. Like, maybe you could make us.
Maybe he could be his nephew instead.
Yeah,
maybe just be his nephew instead.
Give us the impression there are more black people in the Star Wars universe. Like, there's got to be. Like, they must come. It would just be so. It would almost be too on the nose to say, well, Lando was our token black guy in the original trilogy, so let's make Finn his son. Like, that's just too.
Or Finn could be the grandson of. Well, no, it wouldn't work. Mace Windu didn't have children.
True. Yeah, he didn't have children,
because he followed the normal Jedi thing and didn't have kids.
Have you seen the whole theory that Mace Windu is Snoke? Have you seen that? Look it up, dude. I swear. My buddy was.
The face wouldn't make sense.
The scar on his face from being electrocuted.
Well, that looked like a Jedi. That looked like a lightsaber slash.
Yeah, I don't know. He could have had a fight.
People think Snoke was likely in a fight with Yoda. That's what people think.
And Mace Windu. If Mace Windu went Sith, he's had how long's it been? It's been 40, 50 years. He could have gotten in a few fights. So
That
some
would be
people,
weird.
there's been
I'd
a good
rather
theory
have
on
Darth
it.
Maul come back, because in the expanded universe, he somehow survives from pure hate, from being
Yeah.
chopped in half, gets found, and then they put like a mech spider body on his
Yeah,
lower half.
I don't see them bringing the mech spider into.
I know they won't, but that's ridiculous, and you know
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, and it would be awesome.
But
Well,
you
it's
know,
good, man.
like they say in everything like this, we didn't see Mace Windu's body, and just because
Yeah,
a
but he kind of
Jedi.
got thrown like 300 feet in the ground.
Yeah, but we all know that just because a Jedi's thrown out of window doesn't necessarily mean that they die.
Also, why would he go Sith? He was nearly killed by the Sith.
Because he was at the end, like, and this is the whole point. At the end, at the point where he gets killed or blown out the window, he was at the point where he's about to commit murder for the wrong reasons. He is going to kill Palpatine, which is against.
Saved, I don't know how many fucking
But it's
lives.
still against the Jedi Code. And the whole time, like this whole argument, you got to look at this the whole debate is that the whole time during the prequels, the whole concept of the prequel movies is that the Jedi are corrupt and are almost as bad as the Sith. That's why the whole debate Anakin has with himself about, well, if the Jedi are just as bad as the Sith, why not go the easier route? Why not go to the dark side and get what he wants?
There's also the point that George Lucas originally wanted to make Jar Jar Binks the major villain. Of
I
the
saw that. I think that's the idea behind
There's
that
this
is
analysis
convincing.
of the first movie before he was forced to change it.
Yeah.
Of things Jar Jar Binks did in the first movie that were strange and
Yeah.
out of the norm. There's also some theory that he was forcing Padme to say things.
Yeah.
Because you can see him in the background behind her and his lips are moving.
Right. I watched
But
that video.
I'm not going to torture myself and watch the prequel trilogy.
It's very
to know
convincing. That video is very convincing, but I'm not. I don't know. There's a lot of fan theories out there. We're not going to know Snoke is.
Here's a perfect thing you do. You disregard the original trilogy and you have George Lucas make a 3-hour movie that does the original trilogy in one film. The prequel trilogy in one movie, and lets him do what he wanted to do with Jar Jar Binks, and we get everything we want. We get a fight between Yoda and Jar Jar Binks, and we get a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And if that's what they want, and that would be a perfect way to go. You know what? We're gonna let him, and you know that would make a shit ton of money.
Oh,
That
probably.
would make so much fucking money.
And then people would bitch, and people would make a ton of videos about it, and yeah, it would be awful. So anyway, we've definitely gone through the gamut today.
Yeah.
We've talked about everything.
Comes out Friday. Pokemon comes out Friday.
Yep, check
That's what
that
I'm gonna
out.
be doing.
Go
So
see
we'll
new
probably be
movies.
talking about it a little bit on
Yep.
Tuesday.
And the only thing I'm going to say about current events, folks, is be good to each other. There's a lot of people out there right now that are scared. Whether they're scared legitimately or because somebody convinced them to be scared of something that's not real, that doesn't matter. People are legitimately scared. People are legitimately being douchebags. No matter who you support, who you voted for, what side of the fence you sit on, if you're being an asshole, stop it.
I didn't vote for either. Yay.
Yep. Don't be an asshole. You are not better than anybody else for who you voted for. But like I said, there are people out there that are legitimately scared, and whether you agree with the reasons they're scared or not, they're still scared. And the people out there who are being assholes are not helping. The people that are out there protesting and burning shit and beating people up and doing stupid shit, you're not helping either.
You're making it worse for yourselves, honestly.
Stop it. Like, freaking be good to each other. Be better to each other. We all have to live in this together. We all have to be here. We can't just stop this. We can't just change it. We can't. You want to move to Canada? I hate to tell you folks, Canada has immigration laws and they actually enforce them.
Yeah.
You can't.
You probably couldn't even emigrate to Mexico if you wanted to, because they also
No,
have stronger.
they have
laws
stronger
too.
immigration laws than we do. So just cut it the fuck out. Be good to each other. We got to get through this, whether you like it or not, whether it's good or whether it's bad, however it's going to turn out over the next 4 years. We are still here together. So just cut it out, man. Just stop being assholes. That's all I'm going to say on it. I'm not going to tell you who's wrong or who's right, because I don't care. I just want people to stop being jerks to each other. So yeah, that's our show. If you watch the record, actually, if you watch the live show, thank you so much for sticking with us. I know we saw one anonymous user join, and some other people may have watched the show. Thank you so much. We love you. If you watch the recording until the end, thanks for sticking with it. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, please, so we can get to that. fragsandbeer.com at youtube.com. And come back next week. I think we're going to have a special Saturday randomness coming up with one of our other streamers. And then we will be doing another show next week. And I don't know.
Did you check out Zero G Arena?
I have it written down. I have not checked out Zero G Arena, but I'm going to be checking it out.
It's free. Because it's free.
Yeah, I got so much to do.
It's ridiculous. The physics engine they have on it is really cool. That's pretty much what the takeaway of that game is.
I will check that out. So we might be having some dual streams coming up on our Saturday randomness. I got to finish Doom too. So if you guys watched last week, I got frustrated and quit Doom because I got stuck. So I think I know where I got stuck at, and we'll figure it out this coming Saturday
Doom?
or
The
next
new
Saturday.
Doom?
Yep, the
Doom
new
that came out
Doom.
this year?
I got to a point where I couldn't figure out where to go next, and I kept falling. And
Can't you just lower the difficulty to make
frustrated? I'm on the regular difficulty. I'm not going with the treat me like an infant difficulty. I am at the hurt me plenty difficulty. So yeah. No, and it's not the difficulty, it's the fact that I couldn't see the next path, like I could see where to jump up to get to the next section. So I think I figured it out for the next time I stream it. So thank you for joining us. That's our show. Come back next time. You guys all be awesome. Love you much. See you next time. Bye-bye.